For nearly a century, Las Vegas was the city major leagues would not touch, a gambling capital haunted by scandals like the Black Sox in 1919 and Pete Rose's lifetime ban. The threat of corruption kept the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, and the NHL far away. Yet in just a few frenzied years, Las Vegas went from being shunned to hosting Stanley Cup champions, the Raiders' billion-dollar stadium, and Formula One roaring down the Strip. How did an outcast city rewrite America's sports hierarchy, and what invisible risks now come with the gamble? The story of transformation begins where Vegas was once most feared, the shadow of sports betting and a city's fight for legitimacy. For decades, Las Vegas stood on the outside of American sports, its name synonymous with risk and the specter of scandal. The city's reputation as the gambling capital of the world was more than just a marketing slogan. It was a warning label to every major league commissioner. The 1919 Black Sox scandal, where 8 Chicago White Sox players were accused of throwing the World Series for gamblers, cast a shadow that stretched for generations. In 1989, baseball's all-time hits leader Pete Rose received a lifetime ban for betting on games, reinforcing the message that gambling and professional sports could never mix. League policies drew a hard line. The NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL each enforced strict anti-gambling rules, treating Las Vegas as a threat to the very integrity of their games. No matter how fast the city grew or how many tourists filled its hotels, the majors refused to risk their reputations. For most of the 20th century, Vegas's sports calendar was limited to boxing title fights, the occasional NASCAR weekend, and college basketball. Most famously, the UNLV Runnin' Rebels, who captured a national title in 1990 but never erased the stigma. Even the NBA Summer League, which landed in Vegas in 2007, was seen as a gamble in itself. Attempts to bring pro teams to the city rarely lasted. Hockey outfits like the Las Vegas Gamblers and Thunder folded after brief runs. Football's Las Vegas Cowboys and Gladiators faded into obscurity, unable to build a following. Baseball fared only slightly better with the minor league stars, later the 51s, drawing crowds but never attracting the majors. An outdoor NHL exhibition at Caesars Palace in 1991 proved the city could stage a spectacle, but not sustain a franchise. Insiders called it an absolute wall. The leagues prioritized integrity over market size, and the fear of a new betting scandal loomed over every conversation. For Las Vegas, the message was clear. No matter how bright the lights, the door to big league sports remained firmly shut. Bill Foley arrived in Las Vegas with a plan that sounded more like a dare than a business proposal. Bring the NHL to a city the majors had always avoided. A West Point graduate with a taste for risk, Foley bet $500 million on the belief that Las Vegas could support a full-time franchise. In December 2014, he secured NHL permission to test the waters. By April 2015, over 11,000 fans had put down deposits for season tickets, before a team even existed, before a single player had signed. This was not the fleeting curiosity of tourists. It was a groundswell of local demand, a city ready to rally around something new. The NHL owners took notice. On June 22, 2016, they voted to award Las Vegas its first major league team. Foley's group built the Golden Knights from scratch, signing their first player, Reed Duke, in March 2017. T-Mobile Arena, a gleaming $375 million venue on the Strip, opened its doors for the debut that fall. The hockey world watched with skepticism. Expansion teams were supposed to struggle, to lose, to fade quietly into the background. Instead, the Golden Knights shocked everyone. The team stormed through the regular season, clinched a playoff spot by March, and tore through the postseason. In their inaugural year, they reached the Stanley Cup Final, a feat no modern expansion team had matched. The city, still reeling from the October 1st mass shooting just days before the first home game, found unity in the Knights' run. Players visited hospitals, wore Vegas strong patches, and became symbols of resilience. the franchise shattered attendance records, sold out night after night, and transformed the Strip into a sea of gold and black. Doubters faded as the team kept winning. By 2023, the Golden Knights had captured their first Stanley Cup. Foley's gamble paid off beyond even his own projections. The experiment was over. Las Vegas could not only sustain big league sports, it could set a new standard. Other leagues, once wary, now saw proof that the city's passion was real and its market untapped. The wall was broken and the rush was just beginning. NFL owners gathered behind closed doors in March 2017, with the fate of the Oakland Raiders hanging in the balance. Mark Davis, inheritor of the Raiders' legacy, made his pitch, a $1.9 billion stadium rising from the desert, backed by a staggering $750 million in public funds. Clark County would raise the money through a hotel room tax, a gamble on the city's endless stream of tourists. The owners voted 31-1 in favor. For the first time, the NFL was betting on Las Vegas. Construction on Allegiant Stadium moved at breakneck speed, a black glass colossus taking shape just off the Strip. The commitment was massive, not just in dollars, but in civic ambition. No American city had ever devoted so much public money to lure a football team, let alone one with the Raiders' notorious past. Mark Davis became the face of this new era, promising to bring not just football, but a sense of identity to a city still proving itself on the national stage. The stadium opened in 2020. Its debut season played to empty seats as the pandemic swept across the globe. Even so, Allegiant became a symbol. Las Vegas was no longer an outsider, but a destination for the biggest league in American sports. The arrival of the Raiders wasn't just about football. It was a declaration that the city's transformation was real, and that the era of exclusion was over. The arrival of the Las Vegas Aces in 2018 brought a new kind of energy to the Strip, one built on the drive and dominance of women's basketball. Relocated from San Antonio, the Aces quickly became more than just another franchise. They made history. In 2022, the team captured its first WNBA championship, the first major pro sports title for Las Vegas. The following year, 2023, they did it again, repeating as champions and solidifying their place as a dynasty in the making. At the center of this rise stands Aja Wilson. Drafted first overall in 2018, Wilson became the face of the franchise and the city's most decorated athlete. She won 4 MVP awards, provided relentless on-court leadership, and maintained a presence that drew sellout crowds to Mandalay Bay and later T-Mobile Arena. Her impact stretched beyond the box score. Wilson's success helped redefine what was possible for women's sports in a city once known only for spectacle and risk. The Aces' back-to-back titles proved that Las Vegas could support a winning team, regardless of the league. Their run brought new fans, inspired young athletes, and added championship pedigree to a city eager to prove itself on every stage. In a town built on big bets, the Aces became a sure thing, showing that the future of Las Vegas sports includes everyone. Floodlights sliced through the desert night as Formula One roared onto the Las Vegas Strip in 2023. For 3 nights, the city became the center of the racing world. Its streets transformed into a 4-mile circuit that wound past neon casinos and luxury resorts. Drivers pushed their machines to 212 miles per hour, threading between grandstands packed with fans from every continent. This was not a borrowed arena or a temporary track. Las Vegas shut down its main artery, turning the heart of its nightlife into a high-speed theater. Logistics were staggering. Crews installed miles of safety barriers and fencing, resurfacing the Strip to handle the stress of Formula One tires. Casinos struck revenue-sharing deals, while Clark County officials coordinated traffic, security, and crowd control for over 300,000 visitors. Liberty Media, the global owner of Formula One, signed an annual agreement that made Vegas a permanent stop on the circuit, with economic impact topping $1.3 billion in the first year alone. The spectacle was more than just a race. It was a statement that Las Vegas could host not only American championships, but the world's most exclusive sporting events. The Strip, once a symbol of risk and excess, became the stage for a global showcase, proving that in this new era, no sports dream was too big for Las Vegas. John Fisher, heir to the Gap fortune and owner of the Oakland Athletics, stepped into the Las Vegas spotlight with a plan that ignited fierce debate. The proposal was a $2 billion ballpark on the South Strip, built on the ashes of the Tropicana Casino, with 33,000 seats, smaller than any other stadium in Major League Baseball. But the real flashpoint was not the design or the location. It was the money. In June 2023, Nevada lawmakers passed Senate Bill 1, pledging $380 million in public funds to lure the A's from Oakland. The mechanics were complex, a mix of transferable state tax credits and county-issued bonds, all to be repaid by hotel room taxes and revenues generated on site. Supporters pointed to the promise of jobs, year-round tourism, and another major league franchise anchoring the Strip. But critics saw a familiar pattern: private profit and public risk. Their teachers' unions filed lawsuits, arguing that the money would be better spent on classrooms in a state that ranks near the bottom in education funding. Economists questioned the math, calling the stadium's low capacity and high price tag baffling. Local officials worried that if tourism dipped, Clark County could be left holding the bag, forced to cover debt payments from general funds, or even raise property taxes. The specter of Allegiant Stadium's pandemic-era shortfalls hung over every debate. John Fisher's reputation did not help. In Oakland, he faced years of fan protests and accusations of neglect. In Las Vegas, skepticism followed him. The A's deal became a referendum on how far the city should go to court big league dreams, and whether the gamble would pay off or leave taxpayers exposed to another long-term bill. Adam Silver, the commissioner who once warned about the dangers of gambling, now stands at the center of the next great Las Vegas sports debate. The NBA's relationship with the city has evolved from wary distance to open courtship. Summer league crowds have packed the Thomas and Mack Center for years, and the city's appetite for basketball is no longer in question. Yet the final barrier remains: a full-time NBA franchise. The decision comes down to a single date. In the summer of 2026, league owners are scheduled to vote on expansion. Las Vegas, alongside Seattle, is at the front of the line. The stakes are enormous. The expansion fee alone is projected to be between $4 and $5 billion. Money that would flow directly to the league's existing teams, not to mention the economic jolt it promises for Las Vegas itself. Investor groups are circling. Billionaires, entertainment moguls, and even NBA legends like LeBron James have expressed interest in owning a piece of the city's first NBA team. 3 separate arena proposals are on the table, each promising state-of-the-art facilities designed to anchor the Strip's next wave of development. Silver has been clear: there's no doubt Vegas could support an NBA team, but the vote remains uncertain, shaped by questions of market saturation, long-term fan demand, and the city's ability to absorb yet another major franchise. As the countdown to 2026 begins, Las Vegas finds itself holding its breath. The city has already rewritten the rules of American sports, but the NBA vote looms as the final test, a decision that could cement its place as the new standard for what a sports capital can be. Sports have become big business on the Strip, and the numbers tell the story. In just 1 year, Las Vegas hosted 1.8 million sports spectators, each spending on average $1,100 during their stay. That is not counting the casino floors or show tickets, just the direct impact from stadiums, arenas, and events. The city's sporting calendar now stretches year-round, from NFL Sundays and the Vegas Golden Knights playoff runs to Formula One nights and WNBA showdowns. Altogether, sports tourism generated $1.85 billion in direct economic output, with more than $500 million flowing into local tax coffers, hospitality executives, and analysts point to a dramatic shift. Before the sports boom, less than 20% of Strip revenue came from non-gaming sources. By 2023, that figure had doubled to over 40%, driven by hotel bookings, premium suites, and event packages tied to major games and races. The business logic is simple. Sports fill hotel rooms, restaurants, and shops on nights that used to be slow. Each new franchise brings a predictable stream of fans, not just for the games, but for conventions, concerts, and festivals anchored by these venues. Allegiant Stadium alone drew 1.7 million fans in 2022, while T-Mobile Arena and Mandalay Bay saw record crowds for hockey, basketball, and championship boxing. The city's leaders saw the upside and went all in, betting billions on infrastructure, public-private partnerships, and event guarantees. For Las Vegas, the returns have been immediate and measurable, fueling a new era where sports are as central to the city's identity and economy as the casinos ever were. Las Vegas now stands at a crossroads, its skyline crowded with stadiums and the Strip pulsing with year-round events. The city's population, just over 2.2 million in the metro area, supports the Raiders, the Golden Knights, the Aces, and soon the Athletics, plus Formula One and the looming possibility of an NBA franchise. Optimists point to full arenas, a sports calendar that never sleeps, and a hospitality sector transformed by fans rather than gamblers. But beneath the surface, critics warn of a different gamble, one measured not in odds, but in public dollars and long-term risk. The public debt attached to this sports boom is staggering. Allegiant Stadium alone carries $750 million in taxpayer obligations, with Clark County responsible for over $1 billion in principal and interest stretching into the 2050s. The Athletics' new ballpark will add another $380 million in state and county-backed bonds, relying on hotel room taxes to keep payments flowing. These debts were justified by projections of endless tourism growth, but recent years have delivered warning signs: midweek hotel dips, a softening in ticket resale markets, and a 2025 decline in tourism that left some officials uneasy about future revenues. Supporters insist that Las Vegas is simply reaping the rewards of its reinvention, betting on a diversified economy that can weather any storm. They argue that multi-use venues, new transit links like the Vegas Loop and Brightline Rail, and the city's global brand will keep visitors coming. Critics counter that the market is approaching saturation, with too many seats chasing too few fans, and that another downturn could leave taxpayers holding the bag. As the city eyes 2030, with 5 major teams, annual Formula One, and billions in public commitments, the question remains: is Las Vegas building a sports empire or stacking the odds for a future reckoning? Vegas didn't just collect teams, it shattered the old playbook. With over $2.5 billion in public stadium funding and record-setting events drawing millions, the city now bets on sports as its identity and economic engine. But as leagues multiply and mega projects rise, the stakes grow higher. The real gamble: whether Las Vegas can keep winning when the game keeps changing. Drop your take in the comments below.